will not tolerate cyberbullying on here. Cyberbullying is illegal, and you can assure that I will do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen, and everything. I don't want to see it at all. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So a couple years ago I started this video for domestic violence and sexual assault. Really, I was so nervous to be in front of the camera. More so, I shouldn't say that. I wasn't nervous to be in front of the camera so much as I was nervous to be explaining domestic violence and sexual assault. Also, I was very vulnerable because I am a survivor of domestic violence and sexual assault. And I really want to get back to doing that. That was my main reason for wanting to get on YouTube a few years ago. And I started, and I got very discouraged, and I was very scared, and I didn't continue working on that project. And now that I've gotten really comfortable, and I'm really just so in tune with myself, and nobody can say anything to me now it's gonna offend me. I mean, yeah, people might say things and maybe they'll upset me a little bit, but I know who I am. I'm so much stronger than where I was a couple years ago, and so much more stronger than when I went through the violence many years ago. So I really wanted to come back to that and talk to you guys about it. And I feel like it's still a very taboo subject, and people don't seem to understand how close you are to somebody who's going through domestic violence. If you're going through domestic violence, whether it's physical, mental, financial, there's so many different variables in there, and including sexual abuse. There's just so many different variables for domestic violence and sexual assault that people don't understand or realize or acknowledge. And I grew up in a different life, so to speak, like in a different world for me, and it was really difficult dealing with it. So I'm just gonna kind of jump in. I'm gonna let you guys know what I've gone through and cliff notes, and then we can get more in depth into that later. So when I was between 4 and 5, I was sexually molested by my neighbor's kids, or not kids, but their son. And then when I was 12, I was raped. And then when I ended up getting raped again in my 20s. And one thing people don't seem to understand, so the law changed about, I'd say 10 or 12 years ago, where before this, if you were married and you didn't want to have sex with your partner, it wasn't considered rape. So I was actually raped by my ex-husband, and dealt with that, as well as other parts of my life. I was forced into doing things I didn't want to do. I was kidnapped, mentally abused. I have been sexually abused. I have bone missing from my face because I was beaten so bad by a partner, and I've been choked out. I've been forced to do things that I don't want to do. I never went through. I haven't gone through things that some people have gone through, but on other levels, I was forced to do things I didn't want to do, but I was never considered. I never went through like trafficking or anything like that. Any abuse that I ever dealt with in my life, except for when I was a child, was with partners. So I had an abusive husband. At one point I had abusive boyfriends, and getting away was really hard. I remember one time I was trying to break up with a boyfriend. I actually wasn't trying, I broke up with him. And actually I had a couple of partners where after we broke up would show up to my house and had broke in. And that's when I ended up being raped, is when they would break into my house. And it was a lot to deal with. It was emotional, it was traumatizing. It got to the point, it was overbearing. And it's not uncommon for rape victims, when someone, especially someone keeps trying, and you want to love them and you want to give them a chance, but they always go too far. And so I would zone out and disassociate myself from what was going on. And it was really difficult. So I went through a lot of stages, and this is actually a little bit harder for me to talk about than I thought it was going to be. I have another Instagram page. It's called Touching Gray, and it's spelled with an A, Gray. And it really has more in-depth of me writing out what I've been through. But I've given, like, when I say cliff notes, I usually say, like, okay, well, I've been beaten, raped, tortured, kidnapped, and other things. Like, that's the icing on the cake is usually what I say, and it's just very cliff notes. But as far as like really getting into detail, I haven't really gotten there yet. So it's gonna be interesting when I go back and edit this, what it's gonna do hearing it. But it's been a long time. I've been in an abusive relationship for a long time now, and it's been what, 6-7 years. I became a domestic violence sexual assault advocate, and I really, with that, really learned a lot with red flags and other things, taking classes, and I really love being an advocate, and I plan on starting a nonprofit at some point that is different than most traditional advocacy programs that help victims that have gone through domestic violence, sexual assault. One thing that I learned about becoming an advocate and working with other survivors, and at a certain point, we no longer feel like victims. We acknowledge that we have survived the incident. Once we get to that place of being a survivor, we start, we talk, and we're able to express our feelings. And so when I was an advocate and I was working with another nonprofit, I had taken a seminar class, a summit, and I found out about FGC, which is female genital cutting, and they prefer it to be called that versus FGM, which is female genital mutilation. They don't like that term. The victims that have gone through, the survivors, they go call it FGC. That is a whole nother subject that we'll get into on another video, and it's heartbreaking. It really is. It's cultural, has no religious practice behind it. It's very cultural, and that's something we'll get into. I want to get my notes together for that one. This is just kind of a brief introduction into me getting back into it. I know I have a bunch of notes and documents that I've written and put together, and I'm going to have to print those off, and I'll have them with me to go over. But I really just wanted to get back into this, and it's not going to be easy. And I'm sure that there's going to be people that are going to come out of the woodwork and attack me. I've actually had old friends already come at me for just doing YouTube, and it is what it is. So if you want to come at me and try and bring me down, I already know from my life experiences, from my education, from schooling to street smarts to just life experiences and learning in the field, I really have an easy time at detecting people and reading and seeing right through them. And I feel like I'm at a place now in my life, and that's why I feel like it's going to be really much easier for me to come out and talk to people now, because even if you come at me and bash on me, it's so easy to see that you have your own insecurities, you have your own problems and flaws, and you're trying to point the finger at me, but honey, you've got 3 fingers pointing back at you. I don't care how you do it, you've got fingers pointing back at you, and you're really just trying to, project. And I've learned that, and that's why, like I said, I feel like I can approach this now in this light, because I can read through those, I can see through those things, and like I said, they're gonna sting a little bit. At the same time, I'm gonna chuckle and laugh and go, wow, I wish that you could be happier. I wish that whatever is going on in your life wasn't so bad, because I remember before I officially started, so I started my Instagram now almost 4 months ago. It's been up longer than that, but I turned it into, being an influencer officially 4 months ago. And I remember I was liking pictures and stuff, and I saw this one girl just bashing another girl, and I sent her a direct message, and I read right through it, and I said, look, this is what I see, this is da-da-da, just read it. And she replied with tear emojis and was like, how do you know that? Like, who are you? And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to start problems. That's why I didn't respond to you via the comments. But whatever you're going through, I'm sorry. And I don't know if you believe in a higher power, but that higher power loves you, and you are a good person, and you deserve to be happy. And she just opened up and just poured out these messages and emails. She's like, I've never had anybody figure me out, or let alone try and talk to me, and here you are, a complete stranger that I met on the internet, and through some horrible comments that I posted, you read me like a book. And I mean, we talked for hours, and for about a good week or two, she just poured her heart out. And I don't like the term I felt sorry for her. I wanted to help. I wanted to let her know that someone cared. And I think the biggest thing for her that just shook her and blew her mind is she said, "You don't know me. You've never met me. People who are close to me in my life can't even see through me. And you figured me out by looking at a couple pictures on my Instagram and reading some comments." And she's like, "My mind is absolutely blown." And she's like, even more so, she's like, I actually just said a prayer the other night saying, send me somebody. And by no means on any way, shape, or form did I expect to meet some random person on social media that made me feel alive again. And I might get emotional about it now. I don't know. I just read people. And to talk to this girl and to hear her story and just to listen to her and talk back with her, and I didn't push it. I just was very gentle with her. And she told me, she's like, I wanted to die. And I understand. I've been there. I attempted suicide at 14. She's like, I wanted to die. And she's like, and she's like, you're right. I've been so mean to people. She actually went back and deleted all those comments. But, and I've checked up on her. She hasn't replied. So I don't know what happened to her. But I do know in that moment, she said I saved her life. And that's not something I'm new to. I've helped other people before. I hope she's okay. And hey, if you ever see this, I'm the woman from Touching Gray that contacted you. And if you're still alive, you can message me on Touching Gray and let me know you're doing okay. So sorry, I just get so emotional. The thing is I did attempt suicide at 14. My mom found me and rushed me to the hospital, and they had to pump my stomach. And that was, oh God, I feel old now. Long time ago. And I was watching, like 2 months ago, I was watching 13 Reasons Why. And I got to the scene with Hannah in the bathtub, and her mom walked in. And oh, that shook me to my core, because her mom found her. And I was just bawling watching this part of the series on Netflix. And by the way, Netflix, hands down, amazing show. Selena Gomez, amazing work. And thank you for certain scenes that you kept on Hannah that were not comfortable, because people really need to understand those problems. But I call my mom just bawling and apologizing to her for walking in. It was so weird, because even though it was Hannah and her mom, and my situation was different. I took pills. I did not cut myself to kill myself. I did when I was younger. I did cut myself, but never for the point of killing myself, but to take away the pain. And anybody who also has experienced this or done cutting, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And we'll get more into that on another video. But just seeing her mom walk in and fighting Hannah like that, I was so out of it when my mom found me. To see her mom walk in on Hannah, for the first time I ever saw my mom's reaction. And Mom, again, I'm sorry. I thought this was going to be easier. But Mom, when you see this, I mean, I already called you, I've already talked to you, I've told you so many times I'm sorry. And I love my mom. She's a good woman. She's made some mistakes with me. There's things that she did that she shouldn't have done. And she's a much better person now. We have a much better relationship now. But I'm so sorry I ever put you through that. And mess up this makeup. Oh my gosh. I guess I'll just take it off and do a tutorial. How to fix your makeup after you've been bawling your eyes out. So anyways, but no, just to see that, because I was so out of it. My mom and my stepdad put me in the car and took me to the hospital. So I don't know her reaction, but again, I'm just so sorry that ever happened. So on that note, with suicide, it is really important that statistics have shown that if you talk to your kids about it, they're less likely to do it because then they know they can talk to you and communicate with you. And suicide is a really thin line. People get so mad and say it's such a selfish act, and honestly, it is. There's in my opinion, there's nothing selfless. I mean, it is selfless and selfish at the same time. And if you haven't experienced it or been to that breaking point, you don't understand. You become selfish in a piece that you want the pain to stop, but you become selfless because you feel like you've become such a burden on other people. You failed at life. You failed at this. You failed at that. And you just keep making a mess of things in your life and people's lives, and it just seems pointless. So although you want to be selfish and just take your life and end the pain, you're also trying to be selfless and save all these other people this pain of having to be there and take care of you and fix your problems. And, when I did it, I was 14. I didn't know, and looking back, I was so young, and my life got harder. It got rougher. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, after everything I've been through in life, I look back at me at 14, and I just laugh like, wow, we thought it was bad back then. And by 14, I had already gone through more than anybody should at the age of 14. But it was, that's what it was. And it had just gotten to me, but I didn't have anybody to talk to. And it was very difficult. And after that incident happened, after what I chose to do and I recovered, I wanted to help other people that had been there. And I became like the local therapist of the town, and I took care of people, and I helped other people not commit suicide. I knew because of what I was going through. And after I attempted suicide is actually when I started cutting myself to focus on a physical pain instead of an emotional pain. And I just didn't want to deal with that. So I knew signs of other people. I could read them and tell if they were in dismay as well. And I would reach out to them and connect with them and talk with them and read them. And that's always been a really good thing and a really bad thing for me, because I love to help people so much, and I can read people. I can see when they're hurting, that I am that girl that will take care of you. And the people here in my town know me. That's how I got the name Queen, is if you're drunk or really messed up, I'm going to make sure you get home safe. I'm going to take care of you to the best of my ability. I have taken so many drunk people home and made sure they got home okay, made sure, they had someone to watch them or whatever. And I always get a big thank you, and I love doing it. So, and usually they give me some gas money. There's been times that they don't, and I still take care of them. And but I'm always safe about it. I've never put myself in harm's way when dealing with it. So, kind of emotional, but yeah. So with that, I would help people. I still help people, and so the downfall for me on that is I see people who are struggling and I want to help them, and that's what I do. But I'll be talking to someone who's maybe normal and nice, but they've got their life together. So, they're always busy doing this and the other, and then I'm always busy taking care of people. So I don't get to hang out with people that are like where I am in life or whatever, and that's kind of sucks, because I really want to hang out with more people where there's no drama. And now at my time in my life, I've gotten better at picking and choosing my battles and who I can help. And I've also, with work and everything, I've had to pull back. I'm still there for people. I still have people get referred to me, and I'm there to help them to the best of my ability. And was starting my nonprofit and everything, but I've definitely have a more healthier friendships now, and I've learned how to put up professional walls, like with people. And I tell them this all the time, like, look, I want to help you, I want to be there for you, but I do need boundaries. And I know that for you, there is not, the day's over at 5:30. I said, but for me to stay healthy and to be here to be a healthy, strong support for you, I have to cut off at this time. So, you know, you can call my work phone, which I have a separate number for people to call if they need to call me, or refer them to another crisis line if they need a crisis line. And I'm only available between certain times to help them. And if I can't, of course, I refer them to somewhere else that can help them. So I've really learned to do all that. So with all that being said, like I said, I really want to start this back up about domestic violence. I feel like it's still a very taboo subject and it is not talked about enough. And people really need to understand and be aware of just of it in general. Awareness needs to be spread. It is not the victim's fault. I don't care what they do. Nobody deserves to be beaten, raped, drugged, abused, mentally abused, punished on any level. That's not okay. So I really hope that you guys will join me for this. I know I'm pretty sure I'm ready for this. I will do this every week unless I'm gone traveling, then we might have to skip some stuff, but this is definitely going to be one of those. We're going to sit down, we're going to talk, and we're going to spread awareness. And if anybody, you know, I really want healthy comments in the section below. I know we're going to get some bad stuff, but if I see bashing in here, you will be blocked and removed, and I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on that. I want this to be a safe place for people to come and talk and open up. And you do have to understand, though, if you're leaving a comment, it is public. There's no way for me to create a private, safe chat room for that. But maybe in the future on my website, I can create something like that where there is a healthy, safe chat room that allows for conversation and talking points that people can discuss and not be bashed. And if someone is bashed, it is flagged. So if you see anything on here, I do believe you can flag comments. If there is any bashing on here, please flag those right away. That's not something I'm going to be able to tolerate on this video series. And if I have to hire someone to help me maintain it, if it takes off, which I think over time it will. I'm still very new on YouTube, but please leave your comments below and talk about it. And again, you can also message me on Touching Gray on my Instagram. I will link that in the bio. Depending on, I mean, I will always do my best to respond to you, whether it's on posts or DM. And again, you know, I would like this to take off, not for acknowledgement or fame. I want to spread awareness. I want people to know. So in the hopes of that's going to happen and this is going to become a bigger thing, as that happens, I'm going to have more people responding, and I will do my best to respond to all the messages. And again, I am starting a nonprofit. So once that is up and going, I do want to create it to where we'll have a crisis line. We will have staff there to respond to you. And it might not always be me, but somebody who is trained and aware and knows how to advocate for you and be a support to you will be there to respond. So please be patient as we grow if I'm not able to respond so timely, and I'll have a crisis line and everything set up, and I'll do my best to help everybody that I can. So I love you guys. Just like I say on all of my videos, you're a king, you are a queen, you're part of the royal court, you deserve to be loved, you deserve to be happy, never give up on your daydream, and I am super proud of you. And last thing, if this goes really well and I do get a lot on here, I will probably start, which I've already thought about this when the nonprofit gets up and going, I will end up starting a second channel specifically for domestic violence and sexual assault. And it won't be on my main channel, but right now I'm hoping with the little bit of following I do have, it'll be able to be spread. And then once that is going, depending on how these videos go, we'll have me starting another channel. Oh my gosh, something is in my eye. Something is in my eye.